Hello, good evening all. Hope you guys are fine. Can you hear me? Yeah, good evening to my Facebook fans. Just send me thumbs up so that I know that you guys can hear me. Hello, good evening all. Hope you guys are fine. Can you hear me? Yeah, good evening to my Facebook fans. Just send me thumbs up so that I know that you guys can hear me. Okay, echoing. Now, how the audio is? Am I audible? Still echoing. Yes. Hi, I am. Good evening, guys. Hi, Lopavati. Good evening. Thank you for joining me today. I think 5 o'clock we are going to start a webinar with Arati Rao. Miss Arati Rao is going to talk about Brahmaputra River and other livelihood of near river and all. It's going to be very informative. So I thought let me come before 5 minutes before to say hi, hello to my Facebook friends and followers and family. So how is the lockdown going, guys? So all I think lockdown is they eased out. I can see everywhere in market and all people started going out. Only thing flight is to start. Hi Deepu, lots of love. Hi Sanu. Good evening from Nepal. Yes, good evening from Chennai, India. Hi Saravanan. So all office started. People are going to start office and all these days. But still, guys, be careful, be safe, okay? Whenever you travel and all, use your mask and all the precautions you have to take. And today, I think 5 o'clock we are going to start. Hi, Vanakkam, Sangeeta, Vanakkam. Sri Lanka Landu Vanakkam. Anevarkum Vanakkam, my Tamil fans. But today's session going to be English only. Because, hi, John from New York. Hi, Rakesh. Hi Rakesh, yeah, hi Chunki, yes. And Eid Mubarak to my all Muslim fans and friends, everyone. Okay. Though I think because of lockdown, you may not meet many friends and all, no? But still, Eid is Eid. I am fine, Chunki, I am fine. Hi Siddin. Oh, Kerala. How is my Kolkata friends? Yeah, you guys are safe. Hi. Traviam from Sri Lanka. Just tell me from where you guys, so that I know from kahan se mera live join kar rahe hain. Sendil, fine. It will be in English only because Miss Arati Rao knows English and most of my Zoom webinar registration are English only, no? So it is going to be English. And good evening, guys. Whoever is joining my Zoom also. Yes, I think Arati is also joined. We have to wait, Arati. Good evening.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Excellent.
Vaisali, yeah, the webinar is going to be live on Facebook. So it will be in Facebook, in my fan page. You can go and check whenever you want, okay? It will be there. Yeah, Logi, Vanakkam from Hosur. Good evening, Rekha. Good evening, Rekha. And hi, Manrose from Sri Lanka. Great, guys. You guys are joining. Hi, Manju Visalam from Madurai. Madurai, எப்படி இருக்கு? Safe-ஆ? Orange-ல இருக்கா? Red zone-ல இருக்கா? Guys, Chennai, how is Bangalore, Arati? It seems to be raining.
Oh, we had some crazy storm come and go suddenly. It just came and went.
Yeah. So I was wondering whether you can come live and all, because sometimes if it rains, the current goes off and
I know. Yeah, I'm hoping it stays clear. Let's see.
So how is the lockdown period treating you, Arati? You busy writing?
I'm supposed to be writing.
Supposed to be writing. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for joining today, because you said all the live no. So it's my,
I know.
I am honored to accept my invitation.
I'm getting people who are calling and saying, how come you're now talking and now you said no to all of us?
But there is always some special people are there. We can't say no.
Absolutely.
And this is a
Absolutely.
good case also. Even I was going through your small video on Net Geo and all. No, I would like to know more about the projects.
Sure.
Even the Rajasthan one I gone through, but I thought usually even my friends and all, we usually think they love like only beautiful pictures. If we really will present, they really love to know our environment, our nature and all. No? It's our duty to bring to them. Or otherwise, simply people are not bothered about environment, other thing and all. No? See, many they have no idea what's going on in other part of India.
Yes.
So it's our duty to present. So this is a small initiative, and I had to thank you. Do you accept that you are going to present?
Thank you.
I am so excited to listen also, to watch also. Let us see. Let us wait. 5 o'clock only we told.
Sure, sure.
So. Yes, Alex, Arati ma'am will introduce herself. We will wait for some time. It's 5 o'clock, no? Still many is to join. Okay, we are waiting to the sessions to start. Hi, listen, Abraham, good evening. Navi Mumbai. Hi, Vikas ji, आ गया. Punjab से आ गया, ठीक है. Hi, Balachandran, Tirupur से. How is Tirupur, yeah? I hope it's safe now. Definitely, we will start introducing Alex. Arti ji will introduce herself. We are waiting for the others to join. So, is everyone safe? No, please, if at all going, do wear mask here, okay, and take all the precautions because they are going to open train, flight, and all. We have to be very careful. Hope Facebook is live session is going okay, no? It's not tracking. Yes. Hi, Lizzo Abraham from yes. I really get Ganda Surya. Yes, yeah. Thank you guys for joining today because it's going to be very informative. Usually we are mainland, we have no idea what's going in other part of India. So this is northeast, and Miss Arati Kumar Rao is going to talk about Brahmaputra, the river. She was actually India, South Asia, and she is covering all the rivers and very serious environmental photographer. I don't know, she has a lot of, he's having a lot of things, writer, photojournalist, environmental photographer. We had to ask her which one she preferred to call.
Jack of all trades.
Jack of all trades. No, you are master of also. No. You are a master of.
No, I wish.
Yes, yeah. Okay. I think you invite. So currently you are doing any project, Arti? You said national grant, you are doing something.
I'm supposed to be doing on a grant, but now in lockdown, I haven't been able to go anywhere, unfortunately. Okay. So when this lifts, I will continue with the grant work. One full year is left of the grant work. So
okay.
Yeah. I'll be talking about that a little bit.
Yes.
In fact, I'm going to be concentrating a little bit more on Ganga.
Okay.
It's all in the same basin.
Okay.
But I'll show which part I'm going to be talking about.
Okay. Raki is showing. Now it's started questions. Okay, where is Raki standing, raising questions? Okay. Hi Ashok, your friend. Hi Ashok Sanai. Yes. Guys, question and answer session we will be taking later only after the presentation.
Is this Ashok Shenoy from Bombay?
Yeah, I think your friend maybe.
Wow. He's my childhood friend. I've known him since
okay. That's
1 year old.
Okay.
Lovely.
I think we can please we can start, Arti.
Yeah.
You can just introduce yourself. Someone is asking. Of course, I will introduce, but still it's better if you introduce yourself and we can start the session.
Sure. Should I introduce her?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Rathika, for this wonderful opportunity to talk to people from the confines of my home. My name is Arati Kumar Rao. I am an environmental photographer, writer, and an artist. Currently on a Nat Geo grant, which I guess makes me a Nat Geo explorer. There's a lot of work to be done on that grant. It hasn't started really yet. I've spent the last 6 years or so documenting the changes that are coming to our rivers, especially around the Ganga Brahmaputra basin, and specifically in Assam as well as Arunachal and the Sunderbans and Bihar. So that I'll be talking a little bit about the Ganga stem of my work, and I also work a lot in the Thar Desert, which makes it quite crazy because I'm in opposite ends of the country. And recently I have started working also in Ladakh and also Kerala. So that makes it the four corners of the country.
Yes, yes,
so I'm always
yes.
traveling usually. So these last 3-4 months have been very, very strange at home, but also very nice.
Great. Okay, then we can start. We can presentation. We can start, Arati.
Shall I start? Share the
Yes, yes, yeah. Okay, we have people are joining in Zoom also, and let me see Facebook also. Guys, we are going to start. My Facebook friends and all. Yes, yeah. Good evening, everyone. And Ms. Arati Rao is going to present, guys. Please do stay with us and watch us full session. It's going to be very informative. Okay? Yeah.
Can you see? You can't see, no? What I'm.
Yeah, your laptop I can see.
Ah, okay. So
PPT to open kar sakte you can.
Yes. There we go.
Yeah, slide so you can see. Slide so you can start. Okay.
Yep, you see it
Yes.
now?
Great, great.
Excellent. Okay, fine. Okay, I'm going to again thank you everybody for joining. I'm going to be talking about the world's largest river basin, which is the Ganga.
I think it's a bit loud.
Oh, is it?
Yes. Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Better?
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm going to be talking about the world's largest river basin and some of the and the life that I have witnessed in this area and what's happening there. I'm going to ask you guys to do one thing. Close your eyes for now and imagine that you are by a river in a house. It is monsoon, it's warm outside, and you suddenly start hearing rain. It's raining really hard, there's thunder, and suddenly on top of the thunder, you start hearing voices. People are screaming. So you wake up, you run out, and this is what you see. Now you can open your eyes. What has happened is that the river has swallowed half of your neighborhood. Your neighbor's house is gone. You see everybody running with whatever they have in their hands, whatever they could get from their houses, they're running with it, with the children in tow. And this kind of thing happens every monsoon on the Ganga. What used to look like this, which is fields and paddy fields and orchards, begins to look like this. The Ganga swallows up the land and all gone overnight.
It goes to next. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's all gone overnight. So even when I was there, I was seeing huge chunks of land just falling into the Ganga. And this is what the people say. The people who live there say, we go to bed as landlords, but we wake up as beggars. Now, why does this happen? Let me take you to where we are right now. You see that little star? That is where we are. It's in a place called Farakka. It is about 400 kilometers or so, about 300 to 400 kilometers north of the Calcutta region. And it's just where the Ganga enters West Bengal from Bihar. What happened here was, let me go back here. Yeah. So what happened here was in 1971, India decided to build a dam here, a barrage. Okay, it's called the Farakka Barrage. And why did they build it? Because in 1957 or so, they had there was this idea which came down from the Britishers, but the Britishers did not implement it. And then our first planning commission decided to take it up and so on and so forth. The plan was to flush the Calcutta port of silt. So you see, the Ganga is a very silty river. It's the siltiest river on earth. And the Calcutta port keeps silting up. Now, what can you do to keep that port silt free? The idea was that you take the Ganga water during monsoon and you just flush it out. That is, you push it through so that it flushes the port out and keeps it silt free. Now, so they built this dam, okay? But what these engineers who decided to build this dam and implement it did not realize was while the Ganga, you can push it out, you can push water out through the Ganga to the Calcutta port. What comes back, see, that's a tidal delta. What comes back is 78 times the volume of the tide that comes back into the delta. So what happened was, even if the silt was pushed out, it came right back in, and the port did not get desilted at all. So it just stayed silted, and even today we have a problem with the ports in that area which silt up regularly. Now, what did end up happening was something that was completely unplanned for. You see the Farakka Dam over here at the bottom of your screen. You can see the dam crossing the river. You see, as I said, Ganga is the siltiest river in the world. When you put a wall across that river, what ends up happening? The silt gets stuck behind the wall and the riverbed starts rising. The riverbed started rising and the Ganga had nowhere to go. What also happened was, on the right bank of the Ganga were rocks, the Raj Mahal rocks. So there was no way that the Ganga could go beyond that. But on the left bank of the Ganga were soft fields, paddy fields, mango orchards, villages, markets, houses, hospitals, all kinds of things. And that's where the Ganga went. Because the riverbed rose, the Ganga had to find another way to go, and it started eating up the land. And that's how, over the years, you can see in this graph, it's a little technical, so just bear with me, but you can see how in 1971, you suddenly see a change in the Ganga's flow. In this region, this is the lower plains of the Ganga, all rivers meander. So it's not that this is something special, but when this dam came up, the Ganga was forced to meander in a way that was unnatural. It meandered beyond its normal swatch of meander sweep, and therefore it started eating up land. And now you see in 2010 and all, you see how much it has changed from what it was in 1776. You see the normal way of the Ganga, and then you see how it has changed. And that means that all these people, hundreds of thousands of people who are living north upstream of the Farakka Barrage, they have lost their lands. So this man, this young boy, when I asked him where his house was, he pointed into the river. And I asked him what the name of the village used to be. He said it was Narayanpur. And when I looked on Google, Google showed me that it was right in the middle of the Ganga. So it's gone. And all these people are now living hand to mouth. It's really hard in this region because there is nothing. The schools have been washed away. The hospitals are gone. The markets are gone. Their houses are gone, and so they have to keep moving because the Ganga keeps eating land. This is not something that happened only once. This has been happening now since the 80s, still even this past monsoon. It's going to happen in the coming monsoon as well. So there's this kind of destruction that is happening. And the people are desperate, so they are doing all kinds of things to survive. They're sand mining. They cannot support their family, so the children get married very early. There's rampant child marriage. This little girl wanted to become a school teacher, but in her school, no teachers show up because the school itself is not there. And so a lot of these children are growing up without education. There's a lot of malnutrition. The maternal mortality rate, the infant mortality rate is very high because no hospitals. Where do people go when they're pregnant, right? So they have to go 4 hours, 5 hours to the nearest hospital, and by that time, sometimes it's too late. So there's a lot of issues that have happened. Also, then, since the children don't have schools to go to, what do the parents do? They need income. They need to be able to support. So they put the children into labor. And so a double whammy. These children are now building bricks out of the sand, which they're mining out of the sand beds, which are further weakening the bank of the river. And so you see rampant child labor in these areas, especially in the brick kilns. And so this is what is happening along our rivers, which it's called a slow violence, where something happened in 1971, the effects of which are being felt until today. That is how many, 48 years on, 49 years on, right? Now, the thing is, it's not just around the Farakka that you're finding these kinds of issues and these people who are desperate. It did not stop, the barrage did not stop at local destruction. We are going to travel 400 kilometers now downstream of the Farakka. And we are coming into this beautiful region called the Sunderbans. Okay, so that's 400 kilometers down, and this is the next star that you see. That's where we are. This is the Sunderbans, which is the largest unbroken stand of mangroves in the world. 40% of it lies in India, 60% of it lies in Bangladesh. Highly biodiverse area. I'm sure all of you know and have heard of the Sunderbans, of course. It's a tidal zone. So, of course, the tide comes up twice a day and goes out. And so all the animals and the plants here have adapted to this strange saline water coming in and going out. You can see that the way it's breathing, right? You can see how the tide's going in and coming out. And this is a fantastic forest. Of course, it has the Royal Bengal tiger. It has the amazing masked finfoot, which is a bird, very highly endangered. And it has tons of other the tiger footprints that we saw. It had just crossed. And then there, of course, a high biodiversity of all kinds of reptiles. There are dolphins, both the Gangetic, the Irrawaddy dolphins, they're all there. There are crustaceans and all of that. But more importantly, you know why this region is really important? It's the mangroves. The mangroves are land builders. They catch hold of the silt that is in the Ganga and they build the land. That is how the delta is built. And these guys, the mangroves, are the first line of defense in our struggle against storm surges and so on. And they're also very effective in sequestering carbon, almost more than any other ecosystem in the world. And so these guys are our first line of defense against cyclones, against storm surges. And of course, we've unfortunately seen the worst super cyclone probably in 283 years, the cyclone Amphan that has just come through. But the Sundarbans is also much more than just a biodiverse area. It also is home to about over 5 to 10 million fishers. There are fishermen, there are crab fishermen, your famous hilsa. If there are any Bengalis on this group, or anybody who likes hilsa who's listening, this is the land of the hilsa. The hilsa lives in these estuaries. It comes up upstream to spawn, and it lives out its life in the estuaries. These are the people so these are hilsa fishermen right here. And this is the famous, so these are small scale hilsa fishermen in the Sundarbans who are fishing for hilsa. This is in the Bangladesh part of the Sundarbans. And there are also these fishermen who go out into the Bay of Bengal to fish for the hilsa. So they're all, this is a huge ecosystem that supports both man and creatures. And it's something that's extremely important in the delta, in the Ganga Brahmaputra Delta. Now, I must say that the Ganga Brahmaputra Delta is the largest delta in the world. And these people who live and fish by the rivers are called Nodir Kuler Lok. They are the people who live by the river. They fish, the river is their mainstay. That's what supports them. And so they are also, unfortunately, among the poorest and the most marginalized lot even in the South 24 Parganas. They are considered the lowest rungs of society. This is Kabita. This is somebody that I have been working with. She's a crab fisherwoman, and she is also a tiger widow. She has lost her husband to a tiger. He was a fisherman, and a tiger took him. This region, unfortunately, sees the most number of tiger deaths in the country. On average, about 1 or 2 a week. It's a pretty bad situation there. She now tries to subsist by hunting crabs. She makes barely, I was with her, so she makes barely, I would say, 70, 80 rupees a week, and she has to support 2 little children. She's not the only kind of person like that. There are thousands of tiger widows in the Sunderbans, and most of the women, they make their living out of these kinds of things, like catching prawn fry, or uh, catching crabs, and so on. And so, okay, I cannot see my screen. There's something that has come up, like a poll. How do I get rid of it?
No, just close it, close it.
Okay.
Yeah, we can see, we can see.
Okay, great. All right. So we talked about the Farakka that is affecting something that is 400 kilometers downstream. So you see something that came up. What the Farakka ends up doing is two things. Okay, we saw we are seeing what what Sundarbans is. It's this biodiverse area. Lots of people depend upon it. But the dam upstream does two things. What does it do? One, it diverts water, right? It diverts water to flush the port ostensibly out of the silt and so on. By diverting fresh water from the river and from the delta, what ends up happening? The sea starts coming in because there's not enough fresh water coming out. This area is very dependent upon a delicate balance of fresh water and salt water, sweet and brine. And when you stop the sweet water, the salt water ingresses. So there's a lot of salt water intrusion. It's coming in, it's coming through the embankments, it's spoiling fields. There are farms that are going saline. And when they go saline, they cannot be farmed for years, sometimes 3 years, sometimes 5 years, sometimes even 10 years after that because of the salt. By stopping the water, it increases saltwater intrusion into the Sundarbans. It also does a second thing. It holds back silt, right? We saw the problems it's causing by holding back silt there, but it's causing problems here too. Why? Because that's how the delta defends itself. It defends itself with the silt. It keeps building. The silt keeps coming and depositing on the delta. That's how it makes the delta strong. That's how, even if the sea level rises, the delta can hold its own against rises, against storm surges, and so on. If you take away the silt and there's nothing to hold to build the delta, we find that there's huge amount of storm surges and so on. They hurt the delta far more than normal. And then what ends up happening is, of course, most of the men move out. They're migrating. There's a lot of out migration because of all these things. The farms are going bad. The fishing is hard. There are no fish. Because again of the salt water and then also the huge trawler problems. There are big trawlers which take away the fish, and then therefore there aren't any fish. And we find that the single and elderly fisher women who don't have even the men who can go out and earn daily wages somewhere, they end up being far worse off. And again, as I was saying, that the delta is not building itself. Now, if you think, okay, that's one thing that the Farakka is doing, which it is hurting the Sundarbans. Now we look at how, if you go upstream from the Farakka, it has hurt people even upstream. Okay, so now we're taking Farakka as the fulcrum point, and we're looking at it upstream and downstream. Upstream of the Farakka into Bihar, what ends up happening is, because of the silt that is stopped behind the wall of the Farakka, the riverbed rises, and during monsoon there is a huge amount of flooding, which is back again in the Bihar area. But then it also did one more thing, which is very, very important, and that is that a lot of these fish, the hilsa and all of them, are anadromous fish. That is, they go upriver to spawn. But when the Farakka Dam came up, they couldn't go. So a huge and very lucrative fishery of the hilsa collapsed. And with it, a lot of other things, even prawns and a lot of other things, which used to be, they used to find hilsa all the way up to Allahabad. All of that is gone. So now that those fishermen who used to be very well off and very comfortably well off have absolutely no fish to fish, and therefore they are living again a hand-to-mouth existence. This part of the Ganga, which is just upstream of the Farakka, is in fact very beautiful. It has, you go there and you see it's almost like an intact assemblage of animals and birds and stuff like that. And the fishing there was really thriving. But as this man, Mr. Dashrathji, says, he remembers the time before Farakka when he was able to find amazing amount of hilsa, and they were all very well off. And today, the hilsa is absolutely zero. They don't get hilsa at all. But even the fish that they get is hardly anything. When I was there, day after day, we saw, we talk about how as noisy as a fish market. We'll have to change our metaphors from now on, because the fish market was completely silent. No fish came in from the river. There were no fish in the river. We're talking about the Ganga. This used to be an extremely rich fishery. And what ends up happening is they seem to be finding these small trash fish, what they call trash fish, which really nobody buys, except it goes to Siliguri markets and so on, and it's used over there. But it gets them hardly anything. And so these people, again, living a hand-to-mouth existence, no prospects for the future, again, huge migrations out of there. So you see, the point I'm trying to make over here is that we look at our rivers, and you see one ill-conceived dam has had so many fallouts on the river, upstream, downstream. And if you think that this is just one instance of it, unfortunately, it is not. I work even along the Brahmaputra, and you'll see over there, again, ill-conceived embankments, where you build embankments on the sides of the rivers so that there is no flooding. But then these are floodplains. They're supposed to flood. The floods are supposed to bring the silt, which then, again, fortifies the fields, and it's good for the fields. But then so the embankments are built to ostensibly stop floods. But then those embankments are 75 years old, 50 years old. They're not taken care of. And when the Brahmaputra does swell up, the embankments burst, and then people who have built their houses just behind the embankments in a false sense of security that nothing's going to happen, they all get flooded, villages get washed out, and so on. Ill-conceived building against nature, where you're not understanding the hydrology of the place, you're not understanding the river. What we are doing to the river is what is causing immense devastation. And then, of course, there are these recent waterways and things like that. These waterways are the National Waterway 1, National Waterway 2. They overlap 90% with the Gangetic Dolphins range. And there's, in this area, especially where I took this photograph, which is Bihar, research has shown that it's the dredging and all of that is seriously affecting the dolphin behavior, and they're moving away. They're stressed. They're not coming up in time to breathe and so on. This is again taken in the same area. These are Gangetic dolphins. This is the Vikramshila Dolphin Sanctuary, the only dolphin sanctuary we have, and the dolphins here are hugely stressed. And then, of course, there's the huge outmigration. And now we're all talking about migration. These are the regions, Bihar, West Bengal, Jharkhand, a lot of these regions where, we have destroyed the environment in such a way that people are forced to move out because their livelihoods are gone. And they're moving out to places like Bombay. It's overcrowded. There's like crazy situations. And now, of course, with COVID-19, we all know what is happening with the migrant situation. But more importantly, or longer term, they're locked into this daily wage work kind of thing, which then leaves them completely open to market forces. And, their traditional generational livelihood, which used to sustain them, their mothers, their grandmothers, their children, and all of that is gone. And they are living a hand-to-mouth existence, sometimes not even able to send money back. This is what is happening in the Sunderbans now because of the lockdown and stuff like that. There's no money coming in. People don't have any money. People don't have any food. And so the people who are left behind in these devastated landscapes are very badly off. They don't have schools, they don't have hospitals, nothing, So we go to many of these places to enjoy. We go there to enjoy the nature and stuff like that. But very, very rarely do we see the kinds of struggles that the smallest or the lowest rungs of the society in these areas, what they have to go through. So here, think about it. These are some of the most populated areas, very densely populated areas, and they have the highest population of children under 6. Some of these districts, Murshidabad district and Malda district, and so on. And these children don't have schools. They're growing up without an education. They have no prospects, and what is our demographic dividend? It is something to think about, how are these people going to survive? What are they going to do? And then coming back again to now, what happened is with the lockdown, and there was no fishing allowed during the lockdown. These women who are usually the people who collect the fish and take it to the market couldn't take it to the market because no vehicles were plying. They themselves don't know how to drive vans or anything, so they couldn't go to the markets. So they suffered a lot. Women fishermen suffered a lot in this, and they're suffering a lot. And then, of course, we had, unfortunately, Cyclone Amphan, which is the highest, which is the biggest and the worst super cyclone that we have seen in 283 years. And now when I talk to people who are working on ground over there, I'm hearing horror stories because there is absolutely nothing that people have. So anyways, so coming, and that's because of my work here and because of what I have seen and I know of people and what they're going through, I came up with this idea of Photos for a Cause. This was before Cyclone Amphan, unfortunately. It was for people, single fisherwomen and elderly fisherwomen, and to be able to get them back on their feet through microloans and not just handouts, to make them self-reliant. And so we were working with communities. I work with NGOs who work in these areas. And I was working with them to identify these communities who can benefit from some of this and so on. So that's how we came up with Photos for a Cause. Some of you might have seen this. Many of you have contributed. Thank you so much. Rathika has been a really strong supporter of this. Thank you so much, Rathika, for that. And of course, now with Cyclone Amphan, there is a far more urgent also need to give immediately. And therefore, we have also, we are also showing that there is a direct way that you can contribute, which is via bank transfer to the place, to these people who are working with these people who are affected in the Sundarbans. So I'm going to stop there because I would much rather this be a two-way thing, and I would like to get questions, please.
Yeah, this, you can stop the screen share.
Yes. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And someone is asking, raising question. Let me unmute. Yeah, Rekha Kri, you can ask the questions. Hello. Yes, Gaurav, you can ask the questions. You raise the hand, no? Any questions, guys? You can type also question and answer session. Let us see in my Facebook what are the comments and questions are coming. Arti, you can see the Q&A. You can see any questions are coming. Let me check Facebook questions, okay?
Okay, sure.
So that we can cover both. Yeah, Samya Dar is telling very insightful, ma'am. Thanks for bringing up the very crucial underrated topic, especially the present scenario. Thank you, Samay. Alex, yes, it's happening most part of India nowadays. You guys have any questions, guys? Just you can type here, my Facebook friends and friends. And Zoom also, we are taking questions. Please type your questions. We can, Arti can answer.
Yes, I can see. As soon as I see the questions, I can answer.
And it's a really informative session, Arti, because we are sitting at home, we have no idea what's going on. So many things. And recently the Debang Valley is also within lockdown period. 30 projects, they said left and right without checking, they gave permission.
Again,
so
those things
really,
are, yes.
I don't know why, see, they say we have to take care of people, we have to take care of people. The government itself is doing. MOE, FSC is Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. And see, the climate change, what they are doing.
It's really frustrating, but yes, we are trying to.
So many single decision, it may affect so many continuously, a livelihood of people and all. No?
Yeah.
Insightful art. Even for me also today, I think really I felt very bad also. I'm overwhelming. I don't know how to. Now I thought I want to help them more. Let us see the question and answer.
Yeah. So somebody has asked, is there no public movement against this dam? I'm assuming they're talking about Farakka. There was even, in fact, people who were saying it should not be built before it was built. But as you know, in India, a dam is usually highly politically fraught. There was also a huge, this dam is very close to the border with Bangladesh, and so there was a lot of water sharing issues, which then again came up, and so on. So there was a lot of, it was very fraught. There were issues. There were people who spoke up against the dam. There still are people who are speaking up against Farakka and so on. But it went ahead, and it's still on. It's still going on.
Yeah, Ram Balaji asking, has the government any steps to at least analyze the impact? I don't think so. If they analyze the impact, they won't be doing all the these days latest information and all.
No, so the so I wish I could say yes, but I wish I could say they analyze it with an honest intent to analyze, but no, it's not so. Also, again, the impact is there are a lot of good people who have analyzed the impact, so it's not like the government doesn't know what the impact is. But as I often am forced to say, that there are none so blind as those who refuse to see. And if the government refuses to see what the impact is, there's nothing much that we can only fight, and we should keep fighting.
Someone is asking, Arati, from your work along the Brahmaputra, what effects do you think the Ethylene Dam, Dibang Dam project will have on the banks, both upstream and downstream?
Okay, so I'm sure there are other people who are much more qualified to answer this question. I've not studied this particular one, but in general, such projects, like for example, what would have happened if the Subansiri came up and so on, is that these are run of the river projects, right? And there's a huge downstream problems are that there's a huge fluctuation there'll be huge fluctuations in water levels. It could go up to 9 feet and so on. And these fluctuations can affect riverine ecology in a big way, in a very big way. But of course, even before that, the dam itself coming up is going to destroy a large part of the biodiversity, and it's a highly seismically active area as well. So all of these things are very important points that these scientists who have raised and so on. But if any of the projects that are coming up or have been proposed along these tributaries of the Brahmaputra, the downstream effects are equally bad, and some of those are they can be really they can hit not only human settlements and communities, but also things like fish nurseries and just the ecology of the creatures that live in the river itself. If you suddenly have these huge fluctuations of water and stuff like that, that's not what they're used to, and it can destroy ecology in a big way.
And someone say, great work, Arati. No words to describe your work. Heads off you. Arati, why can't you take this government of India?
There are people who are far more well-versed in this than me, who have taken it to the government of India. And again, it's limited. I think our wins are limited, but we have to keep fighting. It's important to keep fighting. I mean,
but at least we are researching. We are getting the information. That is the best. As a journalist, photographer, as a common other audience, we came to know today this. I think I know most of our audience viewers know all these things. No, Barak. Now they will remember. And Ms. Jodi Karak is asking, how do you think behavioral change and awareness could happen within a large population?
I would love for this to start young. Catch them when they're in school. If their environmental sciences class was not as far removed from the Indian situation and what is happening in and around them in local areas, it would make a huge difference. Imagine if a child that is growing up in, say, the Dibang Valley understands and learns about what issues and what affects the Dibang Valley itself, right? Or people who are growing up in say Arunachal Pradesh in the Kameng, or even here in Kerala, if people growing up in Kerala can understand, the kids growing up can understand what affects their shoreline and what causes erosion and what does not cause erosion. And, if they are aware of their local surroundings and they're educated about it and what they can do with what is happening, it would make such a huge difference. I think our school...
Actually, books and all, I have only one session in 10th and 11th standard. Jodi, that's why Arati and you and like me, we have to give a lot of free webinars to schools and for others. it's our responsibility to create awareness, you know. And
also,
like,
yes, and also
yes,
I think
that is
the
a
local
good way.
communities,
Community.
there are so many elders in the local communities who understand how things work and how their own, you know, ecology works, and there's the social milieu and stuff like that. They should be given a chance to teach. I mean, you know, that I feel that local knowledge is lost so many times when you put them in schools which are just, you know, kind of standardized
Yeah.
education.
And someone is asked, Arti, how do you
Yeah.
plan your trips to these regions? Is there any through pre-planning, or you just make a rough plan and go with the flow? How you get the leads that you want to work on this subject and all, the initial plan?
So my very first time in 2014, when I went to the Brahmaputra, it was completely because I heard that the Indian government was coming up with 160 dams on tributaries, and it made me completely rich. So I wanted to go there and see, you know, just try and understand what was going on there. So that was my first thing. But after that, I realized that you know, one trip or two trips or 10 trips or 15 trips or 20 trips even are not enough. So this is something, that's why I decided to concentrate on a certain area, on a certain topic, and just keep going back to those places. And one thing leads to another, Sarang. So, you know, it's, you know, you go there, you meet people, somebody introduces you to someone else introduces you to someone else. You start seeing things. Also, many times what you read in the newspapers, it's nothing like that when you go on ground, you know, and you realize things are so different. So story ideas and stories that need to be told come up from those field trips themselves, you know, and then I just go with the flow.
And yeah, we have very good question from Facebook, Aarti. Anurag was asking, hello ma'am, I am a civil engineer and assistant professor. Would you be interested if webinar is organized for civil engineering faculties? Many could learn from this and can avoid features such issues and would be considered for case study too.
I would want to say probably that there are people who are far more qualified than I am to do something like that too.
Don't underestimate your research and all, okay? At least government won't listen. At least our engineers can, that in those time, no, they can give 2 cents, no, when the
Absolutely.
and all, no?
I'd be happy to tell them the story of this.
Definitely, Anurag, you can contact Ms. Arati Rao. Just Google it, her website will come. You can contact her. Definitely, she's, when of course, she's almost traveling and all, but you got to block her first itself. 2-3 weeks before itself, you have to block her. Definitely, these days and online webinar is coming. We can give you online webinar, or if it's lockdown is Easter, she can visit also. Please contact her. And other questions, Ram Kumar is asking, why are the tigers in the Sunderban region very aggressive? Is it because of the salinity of water or low prey species or any other reason?
I think people still don't know the answer to that question.
Okay,
yes.
Yeah. Okay, Nipuns are asking, how can we help? And here we go for Zoom. I have a lot of questions. Okay, just a minute, yeah.
There's one question on Rampal. Shall I take that?
Yes, yeah, please take.
What's your opinion of the impact of the Rampal project on the Sundarban ecosystem? Thank you, Sandeep, for this question. I have seen terrible things. So the Rampal project itself is the place where it is coming up itself is a stone's throw from a cove where I have seen thousands of dolphins, and no, not thousands. Okay, never mind. But that's exaggerating. But okay, a bunch of dolphins, and I feel that, you know, a thermal power plant coming up there, a coal power plant coming up there is in and of itself is a questionable decision. But more importantly, it's going to increase the shipping traffic through the Sunderbans. The Pashur River is full of is a biodiverse and highly sensitive, eco-sensitive area, and you're going to be having coal ash ships going up and down. You're going to have oil tankers going up and down. You're going to have all kinds of things going up and down. That is just an absolute no-no. Even now, I mean, we have seen even in the Hooghly, there's been a fly ash ship that has capsized and so on. These things are terrible for the ecosystem. So I'm thinking that the Rampal should never have come up, or it should never have been even thought to come up anywhere close to the Sunderbans or where traffic needs to go through the Sunderbans to reach the Rampal area.
Yeah. Another question from Sri Lanka of an Manori. Yeah, Arti. Hi, Thank you for your presentation. I am a female photographer from Sri Lanka trying to pursue more environmental and documentary photography or storytelling. What advice do you have for people like me just starting out?
Manori is an amazing person. I know her well. She's Manori, you have stories at the at your fingertips because she's a researcher as well, and she's I would say that we are living in a very unique age. I think we have this opportunity of being publishers ourselves because there's so many social media and other outlets at our fingertips where we can put out what we have written or shot or whatever. And so I think especially voices like yours, where you're coming from a deep you're a subject matter expert. Your kind of storytelling is so important because if you pick up the skills, the photography and writing and art and all of those are skills, the tools, but if you have the story and you tell it well, that is so important. And then here these days everybody is looking for content. So if you create content which is thoughtful and important, like I'm sure you will do. I think there won't be any dearth of people who will want it.
Okay. And there is one more I think very interesting question. I am from Kolkata, and have been at Sunderbans for several times. What do you think about the future of people over there who risk their daily lives from the tigers during fishing? There is a huge problem cultivation there, as you know. Moreover, can the government plan something to permanently relocate the inhabitants living in coastal area that are highly risked from cyclones?
Yeah, there are many things over there. See, I work a lot with the fishermen who risk their lives. In fact, a friend of mine got taken by the tiger last July. So it's a really hard life, but that is what they do, and they are fishermen, and they do fish for a living. And so, if anything that any relocation or anything that needs to be done for people who live there has to be done with their you know you've got to ask them what they want and what would.
But it's sometimes for very tough for them to relocate, Arti.
Yeah.
They get used to the place and
Exactly.
it's very tough for them to any plant you're uprooting. No, it's very tough for them.
It's very tough, and it's maybe probably not even the right thing to do. So we have right for whom, right? So we need to. I feel that the communities there are not taken into consideration when a lot of these decisions are made, and that needs to change.
Okay. And how is tourism affecting Sunderbans? It's not affecting. People are going, right?
People are going, but it'll be great if people understand the what is happening in the Sunderbans beyond just going and for a
yeah.
with the cameras.
Yeah, Sivakumar is asking very good question. How can we contribute or help those needy people of Sunderbans who get affected by the cyclone?
Currently, I work with Disha, and I saw Chiku asking a question about, can you tell us a little bit more about the work that Disha does? So Disha and DMF, which is the Dakshin Banga Matsyajeevi Forum, these guys work a lot with fishermen fighting for their rights and making sure that they're taken care of in many ways, but also making them self-reliant in many ways. And so I work with Disha, so I am most comfortable suggesting that you donate to them because I know that they are doing good work. And currently also they have people in Gosaba who are trying to make trying to give relief to a lot of people who have been affected in that region. So there are I can share this with Rathika, and Rathika can share it on her page. Yes, there are two ways to give. The thing that I started, which is Photos for a Cause, of course, is one way, but directly to Disha is also a way that you can give, and that is tax deductible under ATG. So if you want to help monetarily, that's definitely a way to do it, especially in this lockdown.
Yeah, and I don't know whether questions we will see. Aaron Daniel is asking, I don't know whether this is a platform to ask, but just went to voice out. I am feeling so frustrated to see our Western Ghats and Dayang Patkai being sold, why doesn't it reach the government? People like you and Rathika ma'am are working great to stress the importance and beauty of nature, but government people don't seem even think of it. Really sad, ma'am.
It
This
is
is a
sad.
we are also from morning. Today morning, I was reading Hindu news, Aarti. Like 30 projects are without checking. They said within, I think, even for chatting also, it took, I think, 5 minutes. Within 30 minutes, 30 projects they signed. Maybe because of the they took lockdown also. It's really what to do. We don't know what to do. Like you, Irani Daniel, like you also we
It's
are
really
trying
sweet.
to create
Yeah.
awareness, everything like
Yeah.
but the authorities are doing like this. But still, there should be some way. This
We
is
should not give up. Is the only way, I think.
yeah, we can't give up. I
Yeah.
think lot of campaign is also. I saw Conservation India. They ran campaign to the
Yes.
signed letters
Yes.
also to
Yes.
send government.
Yeah.
It's I think so. Already more than 5,000 people signed the letter.
Right. Right.
It's a Ranki Srinivasan was running the
Yes.
campaign. So these are the small things we have to contribute. But at the same time, the plus happy news is in Bombay recently, with all the people came out, no, for RA forest.
Mm.
So the government, Supreme Court stopped the project itself.
So I think, especially with this respect to what's going on now in the lockdown, I think, following Sanctuary Asia is doing a bunch of campaigns and so on. So follow them on their page. Yes, Conservation India is doing, and I think there's it's called Let's Breathe. .in or let's breathe India.in. I forget the name of that other thing.
Yeah, I will share all the
Yeah.
links in my page. Yeah,
I think it's most important to keep
Yes.
aware, stay aware, and raise your
going on,
voice.
yeah.
Speak up.
And
Speak up.
Mr. Gopal was asking, what can a photographer do? What is your wish list of stories or documentation that you think will make a huge difference? We're all already doing it. But still, you have wish list, Arti, that you want to do all this.
One of the things that I really want to do is to concentrate on why, first of all, these migrants were forced to leave their places. So I strongly believe that there is a huge environmental component due to which they have lost their livelihoods where they are. There are no jobs, and then they're forced to move to Bombay, Delhi, Calcutta, Chennai, Bangalore, things like that, right? So to try and raise awareness about how it's important to protect ecosystems and restore ecosystems in a way that it supports livelihoods locally where they are. So that is something that I really want to work on, which going forward, that's my grant. In fact, essentially, that's my National Geographic grant, which I want to work on. And so that's basically it. And beyond that, I'm writing a book about landscapes and changing landscapes. So that is again something that I need to, that I want to finish and see what else I can do. There are a couple of other ideas which I don't want to talk about just yet, but
yes.
things that it all comes around to raising awareness. That's all.
And Ganesan was telling, thank you, Ganesan. He is telling, I am stuck in Perth. I am from Chennai. I am a retired geologist and professional photographer. I worked and stayed in Assam. It is important to address the cost versus benefit for both them and development, as well as the local community. Thank you, Ganesan, for joining. I think Australia is now itself it's a late night.
Yeah,
Thank you for joining from Perth.
Thank you.
It's joining from Perth. Okay. And there is Sayangsu Modaka. I am researcher and like photographing environment change. Thank you for the brilliant presentation. Really like the photos and how you gave us a glimpse of the realities through these photographs. My question is, how do you decide which photograph to take to best present a story or situation? Also, what would be advice for any visual storyteller who would want to use photographs to create impact?
Very pertinent question, Sayanangshu. It's when you're telling a story, you have a bunch of tools in your hand, right? You have photographs, you have video, you have words, you have infographics, you have art, you have various things, right? So when you're writing a story or when you're working on a story, what do you choose? What tool will best represent the information that you're trying to give? That is an art to try and figure that out. And it takes a lot of time. It's not something that, what we do these days is just write a bunch of text, stick a photograph, write another bunch of text, stick a photograph. That may or may not be really the best way to do it. But if you think through some of these things, I'm learning all the time. I can't say that I've done a good job or anything, but I'm learning all the time. And, there are some amazing tools out there, the internet, especially the way it works, for us to tell really powerful stories using these tools. And so as a storyteller, I would say, don't call yourself a visual storyteller or a writing storyteller or a writer or anything. Just pick up all these tools, as many tools as you can, so that when it comes time to tell the story, you have options.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you for what do you say? It's a wonderful session, and I think we get more than 100 plus participation, and Facebook also we get more than 100 plus. Thank you, Arti. It was really wonderful. Actually, wonderful, very informative also for them. I think these are the things we have to know as a common audience and all. And guys, if you want to donate photo for a case, you will be getting mail tomorrow. Thank you, mail. You will be getting a link for this photo case also. Even we have 6,000 rupees, 5,000 rupees, small size prints also you can buy. And it's a great initiative from Arati for the Sunderbans people or all the fisherwomen and all. Small contribution, whatever amount, at least 5,000, 6,000 is also will be fine. Please think about it. You can donate. It's going to be, we can't do anything. At least small, this is a small contribution, we can do it. And I hope we will invite Arati for other very informative sessions, but not only listening, at least hereafter we have to be very environment awareness. We have to look around what's going on, and whatever campaign, if someone is doing campaign, we have to sign and be part of it. And thank you, Arati.
Thank you so much, Rathika, and thank you everybody for tuning in.
All the best for your future projects and all. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, you can leave, Arati, now.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Talking things to my friends.
Okay.
Thank you, my Zoom friends. Thank you for joining. I hope the session is very useful. Okay. And my Facebook friends, thank you, Zoom participants. I really appreciate your contribution and lot of questions also. And hope it was useful for you guys. And Facebook friends also, thank you for the session. Sendil, it's a Melbourne. I know it's 10:20, but it's still evening, okay? It's night, no? That's why I appreciate. Pet, maybe it will be 8 or something. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Ram Balaji, for joining. And Prasanda, thank you for a full session you guys are attending. Hope it is useful. Guys, friends, next weekend also we will be having 4 o'clock. Mr. Harsa, the catman from Wildlife Photographers. We are going to see interesting big cats from the South Indian jungles. And Sunday, 4 o'clock, we are going to have beautiful photographs from South Asian. Okay, for bird photographer, Mr. Anand Ramasamy. Do attend all the webinars. It's going to be very interesting and different. So next weekend, Saturday also, Sunday also, 4 o'clock, we are going to have sessions. And don't forget to register Environment Day webinars on June 6th. Though the day is June 5th, it's a Friday, everyone will be working. So we are going to celebrate June 6th only. It's going to be very informative morning session, evening session, 10 to 1 o'clock and 4 to 7:30. Of course, 12 to 1 o'clock, I am going to give master class, how we can use colors in our framings and composition to rules, how to break the rules. And moods also, different moods of animals behavior. So 1 hour, my master class, photo master class I am going to give. It's going to be live on Facebook also and Zoom also. Please do join. Thank you for everyone and be safe and take care of it. Even though the lockdown is eased out, when you go out, please use mask. Okay, keep a distance, well distance and all. Thank you, guys. Yeah. Okay, Prasant. Okay, Pramla. Bye bye. Thank you. See you soon. Bye, guys. Take care.